Sometimes it surprises me what does really well on Gunfighter Life, but perhaps it shouldn't. People love gear talk, gear chatter to argue about their favorite caliber, their favorite rifle. I get that. One recent episode that did way better than I anticipated was Legendary Reliability, some of the world's most dependable firearms. That got me to thinking, how about Legendary Accuracy? Legendarily accurate, precise firearms. That is what we're going to talk about today. If that interests you, stay tuned to Gunfighter Life, where we talk about guns, gunfighting, tactics, ballistics, the right way, with Almighty God at the center, Judeo-Christian values, and real-world first-hand experience. I'll throw in a quick, down and dirty, rapid-fire version of the bio, and then we'll get into the main topic. If you could, while you're listening or skipping ahead, reach down, like, subscribe, leave a review, hit some stars. I'd appreciate it. Thanks. Blessed to have served in the military, law enforcement, combat veteran, private contractor, competition shooter, lifelong hunter, guide. Blessed by God that He got me through all those things so I could share this firsthand training, knowledge, experience with you to serve you today. Let's dive into the podcast. Now, this may ruffle some feathers if I don't include your favorite. Keep in mind, this is guns that are legendary for being accurate. You can get lots of guns of varying models that the individual gun itself, that serial number, is super accurate. I'm talking about on a broad spectrum over a period of time. That particular model has a reputation, and I think deservedly so, for accuracy. Legendarily accurate rifles. A quote commonly attributed to Colonel Townsend Whalen of the 35 Whalen, "Only accurate rifles are interesting." The first one, the Remington 700. Now, I'm not talking about current production Remington 700. Sadly, I don't think I can, in good conscience, recommend any new Remington firearms. Remington ammunition is a different matter. Remington ammunition got bought by different companies. They're making good stuff. I don't know at this point in the year of our Lord 2025 if I can in good conscience recommend any Remington firearms. However, the Remington 700 has been made for a long, long time, and up until the recent bankruptcy, pretty long without interruption. From its early days, from its early inception, it was never known, I don't think, for being more reliable than the big competitor, the rifleman's rifle, the Winchester Model 70. But it did quickly gain a reputation for accuracy. I don't know if this is correlation, causation, just happenstance, which one came first, the chicken or the egg. I don't know if the military adopted the 700 as a sniper rifle, it gained a reputation for accuracy because of that, or because it was legendarily accurate already. Both the U.S. Army and the U.S. Marine Corps adopted a version of the 700 as a sniper rifle, as a sniper platform. In 308, you may recognize it as the M24. Either way, it speaks to the accuracy of the 700. The 700 is not perfect. It's not even one of my favorite platforms. For other reasons, but not for accuracy. If you look at many of the higher end accurate rifles, like semi-custom builds, there's a lot of bolt action, like higher end semi-custom rifles on the market. And if you look at a broad spectrum, many of those, more than any other action by far, I believe, are based on the Remington 700. There are some good reasons for this that lend itself to accuracy. They're a fairly simple action. They're a tube receiver, which can be fairly easy to work on and accurize. It's got a too big, simple front locking bolt design, which lends itself maybe not to accuracy initially, but to be able to be tweaked and worked on easily to attain good accuracy. So it really has become that legendarily accurate over a long span of time bolt-action centerfire rifle. And that kind of embodies what we're talking about today. That's why it's number one on the list. Now, of all the rifles, bolt-actions tend to be the most accurate. You can get mad at that if you want, but it's just the way that it is. So there's going to be a lot of bolt-actions on this list. However, not all of them, because that wouldn't really be fair. Compare like a handgun against a bolt-action rifle. What is a handgun that has a legendary accuracy provenance assigned to it? And that's the SIG P210. There are a few other handguns that you could put in the category of target handgun and fighting handgun. The SIG P210 is that. Much like many things used or adopted or made by the Swiss, kind of known for fine craftsmanship, the SIG P210 no different. The SIG P210, if you're not familiar, is a single stack semi-auto handgun. Been around since the 50s. There's been many variants of it. There's still a current, I don't know how much it's related to the old SIG P210, but a current variant still made by SIG, used by the this is not everybody, but used by the Danish Defense Force, Latvia, Monaco, and Switzerland, the Swiss military, and various police forces. And it has that legendary accuracy, far above most other military police handguns of its time. A lot of times you have to pick if you want a good duty-worthy military police kind of stand up to abuse and hard use, or you want a tight-fitting, accurate target revolver. But not with the SIG P210. With the SIG P210, you can have your cake and eat it too. You can have a super accurate and reliable and rugged handgun. It has that reputation. But of all the things it's known for, I think it is known most notably for its accuracy. I dare say a legend in the accuracy department for handguns. Another one, how about Browning bolt-action rifles? For a long time it was the A-bolt, now it's the X-bolt. You could argue about the differences and the nuances there. I think the X-bolt is still good, but growing up it was a big advertising thing in a lot of the gun magazines and stuff back before the big internet era of Browning being the most accurate bolt-action rifle. The Browning A-bolts were really known for accuracy. The Browning X-bolts are still really known for accuracy. Not really any military or police adoption that I know of, but for a sporting arm, for a modern deer elk rifle, they're kind of known for accuracy. Like if you buy a Browning bolt-action rifle, you just assume out of the box it's going to be really accurate. I might assume if I get a Remington 700, even an older one, that it can be accurate, but I'm going to have to do some work to make it accurate. I assume with a Browning, I take it and I shoot it, and it is accurate. They have that reputation. Let's take a step back in time. Ye olde fighting rifle, the 1903 Springfield. Now there were a lot of legendary firearms in World War I, even World War II. You know, the Enfield, kind of known for being fast. The Mauser 98, kind of known for being rugged, solid. The Springfield Model 1903, in all fairness, a pretty obvious copy of the Mauser 98 of the Germans, but refined. And it quickly became known for accuracy. Accuracy for a turn-of-the-century, bolt-action, iron-sighted, non-free-floated, wood and blued steel weapon. It gained that reputation of all the battlefield weapons of the day. It had that reputation for accuracy. Really good, accurate iron sights. Except for, some initial heat tolerance issues with Springfield Armory. Really, really good reputation all around, but especially for accuracy when compared to other guns of the day. And that might be, today atrocious. You might think today 2.5 MOA is, atrocious. But In World War I, 2.5 MOA was, you might write your mama a letter home or your dad how accurate your rifle was, because it's crazy accurate for that era. That 1903 Springfield, legendary. A lot of which is attributed to its accuracy. How about this for accuracy? And this story I'm reading from AccurateShooters.com to give credit where credit is due, but firing an off-the-rack M1903 Springfield using GI issue tin plate ammunition, George Farr shot 71 consecutive bullseyes at 1,000 yards, 70 for record, and a record that has never been broken. Now, I did verify that story in a second witness to make sure, but that's legendary. How far can we get from that 1903 Springfield in power and use? How about the Smith & Wesson Model 41? Now, this is a target handgun. Also kind of a mass-produced handgun. It's not like a Pardini or a really, really high-end handgun. Of course, those are known for accuracy. But like an off-the-shelf Smith & Wesson, the Model 41, if you're not familiar with it, kind of built for bullseye target competition, and it delivers. It's a very, very accurate handgun. And I don't think it gets a lot of love. I think it's underappreciated, so I'm going to toss it into this legendary accuracy episode. This will make a lot of people very happy, because they don't get a lot of love nowadays either. However, the Marlin Micro Groove 22s. Pick your flavor. The most ubiquitous, the most common of these that went away when Remington kind of bought, I think it went away when Remington bought Marlin. And it hasn't come back since Ruger bought Marlin, but the Marlin Model 60. Now, it kind of lost the race to the Ruger 1022, and I think that's deserved. But it didn't lose because of the accuracy department. That Marlin Micro Groove 22 rifling, and they used it in other calibers, but really in the 22. The Marlin Model 60s are known for being accurate, especially for all the things that should make them inaccurate. They don't have a free floated barrel. A lot of them have a tube magazine, so you're changing harmonics as you fire shots. Not exactly a precision fit between the stock and the barrel, and so on and so forth, but they are accurate. Now, whether that's due to the microgroove barreling or not, I don't know, but they kind of, in keeping with today's theme, they're kind of legendary in the accuracy department. The Marlin Model 60, again, being the most ubiquitous, the most common, but there was the Marlin Model 70. Marlin made their lever actions, the 39, 39A, and there's probably many other models that I don't know. But the Marlin 22s of microgroove rifling, whether the microgroove rifling is the cause of that or not, I can't say. But they have that reputation, and they are accurate. Maybe not every one, but they have that reputation, and I think they deserve it. The Marlin Microgroove 22s. I said there's going to be a lot of bolt actions on here. This might be controversial, but pretty much any Savage bolt action center fire ever. And I'm not a Savage simp. I'm not sponsored by Savage. I'll be honest, I think Savages make some of the ugliest bolt-action rifles. They're not winning any beauty contests, but they sure might win a performance contest. They might win an accuracy contest. Now, this may just be a fluke, but I have never owned a Savage centerfire rifle that was not crazy accurate. So much so that if it was 2 or 3 times the money, I would have been like, yeah, that's plenty accurate for what I paid for it. A lot of accuracy, not all of it has to do with the barrels. Many different things go into that. The kind of rifling, the crown on the barrel, the profile. There's so much into it. But Savage is known for making really good barrels. They're also kind of known for their barrel nut system, meaning it's pretty easy to tune and set headspace for Savage rifles. One of the things that makes them ugly is that big nut on the end of the barrel. But I'll take it. I'm a performance over style kind of guy. I can have a beautiful rifle that doesn't shoot, it's not reliable, not accurate, or I can have a butt ugly rifle that's a tack driver that works every time. Sign me up. Savage centerfire rifles are that rifle. Now again, you may find one that's not a good shooter, but it's going to be the exception rather than the rule. And there's not really a specific model I can point to, from the Savage Axis, which is crazy cheap, to a 10, to a 110, to a 111, to a 116. Take your pick. So much so that if I got any of those models in pretty much any caliber, and I went to shoot it and it wasn't accurate, I would be surprised. They're legendarily accurate. Here's another one I gotta throw in to be fair. The Tikkas. Tikkas are known for this. Again, I mean, Tikka makes far less models. I think that's one of the reasons they're so successful. Everybody argues about long action, short action, whatever. As I'm aware, pretty much all the Tikkas use one action. Whether you're shooting a 308 or a 30-06, same action. 223 or 300 Win Mag, same action. Which makes them very simple. They are known for being very accurate. Now, they don't have as many models. It's basically the Tikka T3 and variants of it. But that's fine, because they're accurate. Same thing I said about the Savage. I mentioned Savage first, mostly because I like Savage and they're American. Why not give them the heads up? But Tikka is a fine manufacturer. Tikka makes good stuff. They make good rifles and they're known for being accurate. Now, this may be controversial, but I consider a Tikka T3 a budget rifle. They're more expensive than, say, a Savage Axis, but I still consider them a budget rifle. They're kind of known for having flimsy stocks, not being the most robust, but they're known for two things, I think. A smooth action and legendary accuracy. So I gotta be fair and throw them on the list. The last one, maybe the controversy space here, the Sig Cross. It's the new kid on the block. It's not as storied, it's not as legendary in general as a 1903 Springfield or a Sig P210 or a Marlin Model 6022. But I tell you what, it's accurate. And everybody I know that's got one is happy with the accuracy. It's been around a few years now. I have one. Here's a little story about mine. Sample size of one. I wanted one for a while. I sold some guns. I was blessed to have the money. I bought one. I'm working, by God's grace, 2 jobs now. The podcast and private security contracting. So, nothing's better for a man to eat, drink, and enjoy the good of his labor. I bought a Sig Cross, the Trax model, which is kind of known as it is their lightweight model. I got a bunch of different 308 ammo to try through it. The first load I shot through it, I didn't even bother measuring the group size because I didn't care. It was $16.99 a box ammo that I paid for it. If you know those little green like quarter size stickies that I put on the target, my first group that I shot, I believe, 4 to see how it shot for a group, they'd all fit inside that quarter and have room to spare. I didn't even try other loads. I didn't even shoot it off like a lead sled. I shot it off a rubber rest. Didn't even try any of my other loads so far. Why? Because that one's a tack driver. Why even mess with it? Crazy accurate. The next group I shot, I took a picture of that one too. I'm looking at it. I didn't bother to measure it. It's so small. And things like my heartbeat off that rubber rest may affect the bouncing of this as much as the accuracy of the rifle because it's such minuscule difference. If they don't all touch, they're really, really close. And I mounted it with an LPVO because I didn't get it as a super accurate tack driving rifle. I got it as a hardcore hunting backcountry rifle because it's super lightweight. It's 5-point-something pounds. One of the reasons I got it, I mounted it with an LPVO. I may have gotten much more impressive groups if I mounted it with something massive like a 3-9 and shot it off a proper, hardcore, steady rest. But it's very, very accurate. Even with an LPVO, even with $16.99 a box ammo. Super happy with it. And it's not just me. People I've talked to that have got the Cross, I've never heard one complain about the accuracy. Now, it's newer, so it doesn't have as long a track record. But I think that it is here to stay as long as, the balloon doesn't go up to peanut butter and chocolate, doesn't hit the fan, something crazy with guns doesn't happen with the gun market. Things, if they stay relatively steady, I think the Sig Cross is here to stay, and I think for good reason. There's some other cool things about the rifle. It's an affordable, lightweight chassis system. It has a smooth action. It's got very similar ergonomics to an AR-15. If you're really familiar with an AR-15 and that's really all you're familiar with, that might be a big selling point. It's very simple, and it's very accurate. The Sig Cross. Again, maybe a controversy there because it's not been around as long, but I think it has already started to gain a reputation for accuracy. So I'm going to toss it in. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment. You're probably smart enough to figure out how to leave a comment, whatever platform you're listening to this on. Even title it, I can't believe you forgot. I can't believe you left out. Start it with that so I know what you're talking about. I can't believe you forgot the XYZ rifle. It's world-class accuracy. What did I forget? Let me know. Love to hear from you. I'd also love it if you consider getting a bunch of the extra content that's on Patreon. Mostly because I want you to support the show. All the buzzwords. Small American veteran-owned business. Gluten-free. No dolphins were harmed in the making of this episode. All that stuff, right? If you want to support small American veteran-owned business, where you get good, wholesome gun content without a bunch of blasphemy, without a bunch of foul language you can listen to with your family, with your kids. If you appreciate that, I'd appreciate it if you would consider becoming a patron. You're not sure? Go to Patreon, sign up for free. You don't have to give any money. You can just sign up. See if what is on there is worth it. Hopefully you'll be pleasantly surprised. But anyway, check out Patreon. There should be a link in the show notes. With that, your tactical tip of the day. Free float barrel, free float barrel, free float barrel. You hear that a lot in the accuracy world. Well, that only works if that barrel channel, the gap between the barrel and the stock, is free. If you get a bunch of stuff stuck in there, grass, weeds, willows, alders, whatever you're climbing through, stalking through, if you get a bunch of stuff lodged in there, is it free floating anymore? This is a tip, I don't even remember where I picked it up, but you can take like a piece of yarn or something that fits, fairly expandable, pipe cleaner, and run it all the way back. Trim it so it's not sticking out a lot, but enough where you can grab it on each side. And after you crawl through a bunch of nasty stuff like that, then you want to check to make sure that itself doesn't interfere with your accuracy, but it probably won't to any measurable degree. If you get somewhere and you realize you got a bunch of stuff stuck in your barrel channel, you can grab both sides of that yarn, that pipe cleaner, and just run it back out of the rifle and knock all that stuff out of there. It's your tactical tip of the day. Your tactical verse of the day from the book of Genesis. Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth, and the fear of you and the dread of you shall be on every beast of the earth, on every bird of the air, on all that move on the earth. Now I'm going to give you a bonus tactical verse of the day because I think it ties in nicely. Now if you haven't ever read the first chunk of Deuteronomy 28, I would encourage you to. It's beautiful. However, I'm going to start in verse 9 and go to 10 today for you. The Lord will establish you as a holy people to himself, just as he swore to you, if you keep the commandments of the Lord your God and walk in his ways. Then all the people of the earth shall see that you are called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of you. Those are some of the blessings of God. To reference another tactical verse, Exodus 15, the Lord is a man of war. We read there a blessing that man and beast would be afraid. You are made in the image of God. That's a beautiful thing. With that, thanks for listening and have a blessed day.